Hi, everybody. Dion Major here, Inside Sales by Design. I have the amazing Matt Millen joining us today to kick off our Maximizing Your Sales Efforts webinar series. And he is a treasure trove of information, one of my favorite people on the planet. And we are so excited that you're here, Matt, talking to us about a really hot topic, an AI. And it's definitely one of those things that isn't going away, and you've got to get on the bandwagon and all that good stuff. So I look forward to hearing from you, your words of wisdom. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thanks, Dion. Great to be here with you and kicking off this great event.
Thank you. It's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
let's jump in.
Let's do it.
Oh, we're going a little fast. So, hi, I'm Matt. Matt Millen. I am the co-founder of Reggie.ai. I've been selling since 1987. So that's before email, before the internet. But one of the cool things about selling for this long is that, like, you see technology come into the sales tech stack.
Yeah.
You know, I saw the first laptops get into the hands of salespeople, the internet, the first mobile devices get into the hands of companies and sales organizations, the first sales engagement platforms. And every time you see these new technologies come into the sales tech stack, you see a step level increase in productivity. And that's what's super exciting. And AI is no different. Like, the infusion of AI right now should be a really exciting time for all of us because of the promise of the increase in productivity. So we're going to jump into that, and specifically the three trends that are driving that productivity right now. Ready to jump in, Dion?
I am, Matt. I love everything you just said. There's so much there. I think we could talk all day on that whole thing of new things coming in for sales, and how do you drive adoption, and how do you get people to use it, and how do you get your team to use it effectively, and they're not necessarily stubbing their toe or the company's reputation. There's so much to say there.
There is. We'll do as much as we can in 25 minutes.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, you know, we jump in, and one of the numbers that I've tracked for years is the percentage of sales reps that hit their number. It's called participation. And over the last 8 years, it's gone down every single year, like 60%, all the way down up until about a year ago, like in the high 40s, which means like less than half of salespeople are making their number. But up until about a year ago, while this was going on, companies were still making their number. But this year is different. So this year, like, companies are now missing. Companies are missing their pipeline generation numbers for the first time, and rep participation is anywhere between 20 and 40%. Like, we've had a pretty tough, challenging year. We're seeing like some pretty tough numbers. So just know, like, that number's gone down to the point where it's impacting companies, and chief sales officers and revenue leaders, you know, really count on the outbound motion to generate pipeline. So, like, we got to figure this out quick.
Yeah.
So what are the blockers? Like, why is this happening? Well, first, like, leads. You know, I talked to some companies that got buckets of leads that aren't being worked. Or reps don't know which leads to work first over other leads.
Yep.
Or they're not being worked effectively. Like, they're in sequences or cadences that are stalled out because tasks aren't getting executed. So there's so many reasons where we're just stalling out right at leads, which is tough. Second reason is technology. You know, you take a look, average company today spends over $5,000 per sales rep on technology. It doesn't all work together, talk together. Reps don't use it the same. There's inconsistent use. In many cases, reps aren't using the technology they're given, or not using it nearly to its potential. So there's a lot of opportunity there to take advantage of the investment that organizations are making. Next reason is the channel. I hear reps say, you know, email doesn't work. Prospects don't return my calls. My LinkedIn messages aren't getting returned. Like, channels aren't working like they used to work. That's partly true. I think the bar of excellence has certainly gotten higher to stand out and to be relevant today. But we have that. And then lastly is what I call the talent roller coaster, where reps might not be in the seat long enough to really build up their book of business and to get the ramp behind them and get good motion. Or some jobs, reps come in and want advancement too early, and the organization's not getting a return on the investment. And like, this was just a challenging year where reps weren't winning, and they might go look somewhere else where they think winning is easier. Whatever the reason, though, rep stability is important. Generative AI to the rescue. Tech has always been the promise. Like, this next innovation of tech has always been, the promise that will get us there. And one of the things that I've seen over the years is technology solves problems and technology creates problems.
Yep.
And up until AI, rep participation hovered around that 50% mark. Even though there was more innovation every year, more technology available, reps weren't necessarily winning more as a result. And AI is here to change that. It will be different with AI, and we're going to go into exactly why that's the case. I mentioned in my opening that every time we introduce technology, there is a step level increase in productivity. And here's the payoff. Gartner did a study about 27% more bandwidth. I mean, that's a really big number when you think about it. And we'll spend less time or no time on some administrative areas, more time in interacting with clients. And there's a really great breakdown or transition of the from your time to your time. But I would say, on average, you should expect about a 30 of your time to open up for the kind of tasks and activities that you would want your reps to spend that time on.
That is a big number, right? And that's been the plight of salespeople for a long time, which is, do you want me doing admin work or do you want me selling, right? So
we want you selling.
And that's a fair question. So yeah.
So AI is here. Now, depending on where you are in your AI journey, you may be successfully using this in your tech stack. You may be very skeptical, somewhere on that continuum, but I'll say AI is here. AI has been here for years. It's been here long before ChatGPT was here. In fact, we did AI before it was cool. We've been doing AI for over 2.5 years now.
Wow.
But I will say, like, G2 just did their state of the software survey, and AI is fueling the software market like twice as high as the next category. Like, boom, 1,000 vendors in AI right now, 1,000. Like, there was just a handful a while back. There's 1,000. It's the fourth new category with the most buyer traffic, and AI writing assistants are the second fastest growing category. So AI is here. Like, and because it's here, let's jump in and understand like what it can do for us. What are the 3 big trends that we should be experiencing with the AI right now? So first trend, this is the oldest of the 3. I'm going to go in chronological order, kind of oldest to newest, which is this notion of going from simple automation to AI automation. Simple automation is like your sales engagement platform, where humans make the decision and the platform helps to execute some of the automated tasks. In AI automation, the machine makes a decision and the human gets to execute some of the tasks.
Yeah.
So it's a really big shift.
It is a big shift.
Where it shows up like the most is if you're writing sequences, AI should be doing that for you. So what used to take days or hours should now take minutes. If you're personalizing an email, what used to take 20 to 30 minutes should now take 10 seconds to 2 minutes, depending on how much research you want to be involved in. Like, this has been around for a couple years. It's the most basic of the trends, and it's where we should be most furthest along. And we see it most in content generation, whether we're producing the entire sequence, specific steps of the sequence, but AI is here to assist us in a great way, doing the prospect research, doing the writing of the personalized communication, whether you're in LinkedIn, you're in email, or your sales engagement platform, it is here to work with you. So that's number 1. Now, I'll go through the 3 trends, then we'll jump into a case study for each one to show you the payoff specifically that you should expect.
Love that.
Trend number 2, This one's about a year old, so this is a little bit more recent. And this is that prompts are replacing templates. Now, many of us know template emails, and you could be using template emails in your cadences and sequences. You can be using template emails in one-off communication. But that can go away now, like death to templates. And in the same time that it took you to utilize a template, generative AI can now construct a unique piece of content for your prospect that's personalized, it's contextual, just as quick, much more impactful. So this is the big trend now. Now, the bigger question for me is who should do the prompting?
Yeah, that's the question.
If you're individuals going out to ChatGPT, you're using prompts, you're going out, you're using prompts, you're bringing it, whatever it got back, doing some editing, figuring out how to use it and go. Or you could be using a verticalized platform that's pre-prompted with your brand voice, your personalization guidelines.
Yep.
It knows exactly where you are, what you're doing in your workflow, and will provide you sales-ready content. So the real question is not whether do I use a template or prompts, but who's doing the prompting.
Yep.
In some cases, reps are doing the prompting. In other cases, reps can be using a platform like a Reggie that has all the prompting set up, and it just delivers sales-ready content right inside the workflow you're in. But this is a big trend. It's a little bit newer, getting about a year old.
Yeah. Yeah. So Matt, do you see organizations kind of going that route, like you're saying? Because and I, full disclosure, I love Reggie. I use it. You're amazing. And so the question I have is, are you seeing organizations use Reggie and prompts in that way? Which is like, because that was the big thing, right? Is organizations would say, I don't want my salespeople writing emails. I don't want them doing X,
Yep.
right? We want to be able to surface, to your point, sales ready content. So are you seeing organizations and marketing, product marketing, even maybe with a mix of salespeople, kind of put together those lists of prompts, right? And so to kind of keep the guardrails and the messaging and the company voice and things of that nature, are you kind of seeing that as a best practice?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I'll go quickly. So, like, there's 4 reasons you would want to do it that way. Because the first way, like, if reps are going out and doing this, there are no controls in place. It's not respective of the company's brand voice. It's not specific to the persona. There's no connected tissue to the marketing messaging or what they're looking for. Number 2, you're not getting sales ready output back. You're going to have to do something with it and bring it back into your platform. The next piece is that your managers have no view of what you're doing. So one of the great attributes of sales tech is that managers have dashboards and visibility so they can help coach their reps. And if you're just running out to chat or something else and doing your own prompting, you're very much in a silo. Yeah. So there's a number of reasons that organizations move to a vertically oriented platform.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, let's jump into the third trend, because this is flying cars. This is like right now. And this is the trend of going from content generation, which were the first 2 trends that we talked about, to where the generative AI is actually doing task execution. It's doing tasks for us.
Yeah.
And because this is brand new, like literally like happening as we speak, I'm going to spend a bit more time on this one before I go into the case study. So we call these agents, AI agents, and these are basically AI programs that do work for us, very specific bodies of work. And we have 8 predominant use cases. They can do cold outbound. We'll walk through a use case. They can do your LinkedIn connection requests. They can respond to inbound. They can do sales nurture. If you're doing account-based sales where you're multi-threading, they can support that. Customer expansion. Some companies outsource leads to third-party partners. Agents can do all that work in-house much more cost-effectively, higher quality. And then we have what we call outbound and inbound. So those lower priority leads that come in through inbound.
Yep.
Not really leads, but they're interacting. Like, what do you do with them? You can put an agent. So there's all these really pragmatic use cases where agents can come in. We'll go a little bit deeper. So One of them is audience expansion or list building. I talked about this as like one of the big blockers.
Yeah.
But what our agent can do is go into your Salesforce. It can take a look at where you're winning, the kind of company, the different personas that you're interacting with, and then build a lookalike list using your lead list. And then beyond that, we'll go to your data provider and find additional prospects for you to go after to expand your audience of prospects. And it'll do this 24/7 in the background. It'll continually go out and look for prospects that match where you're winning, and then automatically start to communicate to them.
Got it.
And it'll do it just like this.
Wow.
So I find Dion's exactly the kind of person I love to sell to. And what the platform will do, it'll write a contextual, personalized email to Dion based on the prompting that we want, the brand voice of my company, her prospect, what I want to personalize around, whether it's a Salesforce field, some intent data, whatever it may be. And then based on her response, I'll either start to create high priority tasks for the rep to reach out, or we'll provide her some information if she's a little bit by later but interested. Or if there's no interest, instead of putting her through 17 steps or 24 days, we'll just drop her right into nurture.
Yeah.
All with no rep interaction. So we're going to find the list, build the list, start to talk to the list, and when the list becomes engaged, then we serve up those tasks to the rep. And this is happening right now. You think about all the manual work that we're eliminating.
Yeah.
And I think for me, what's most exciting is that we're seeing prospect sentiment go up because prospects are getting more relevant messaging. The ones that want to engage are getting it even quicker. The ones that don't want it aren't getting pummeled. And then reps are only working tasks on prospects that are looking for engagement. So super excited about this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into a few case studies here.
Please do.
And really what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the payoff of what you should be seeing from the AI.
Yes.
So first, we go back to trend one. This is a couple years old. And this is where we let the machine make the decisions largely around content generation. And our first case study is reputation. It's on our website as well. And, they used to write all their sequences by hand. Personalization was all manual. So this was, we did bias. Like we use our bias and experience, our habits.
Yep.
And we started relying on Reggie to write the sequences. So what used to take days, brought it down to minutes. And we could start to provide better analytics around what they were building that allows you to iterate and optimize your messaging over time. So here's the payoff.
Wow.
This payoff, first, we were saving over 100 hours a month of somebody's time in content generation. So it's a big chunk of time. But here's where I get excited, which is positive email reply went from 35 to 48%. Like you think about, there's no spam cannon here. Like this is good. Yeah. And then opens went from 52 to 66.7, and reply went from 4.8 to 7%. So like one, like we can save a bunch of time, and two, like we're driving better engagement for the team, and we're driving happier prospects in the process. Super important.
That is really important, Matt. And we always, and you and I have probably talked about this, right? Where we live in an age of zero surprises, zero. I can track my Amazon, my packages, right? All that good stuff. And that consumer experience is now expected in the buyer side, right? In the B2B side of the world, where it's like, hey, there's enough data out there. In the United States, the laws are different. Privacy is dead. Get your technology working to meet me where I am. And I think, I don't have any science behind that, right? But if I'm saying it and feeling it, you're probably seeing it anecdotally. It's one of those things where it's like, that is kind of the expectation now for people. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is, if you're going to interrupt somebody in their day, you better be relevant to them.
Well said.
And what we can show here is that we can increase personalization and relevancy
Yep.
at every touch.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And I love that overarching thought process, right? Just kind of having that first, keep the first thing first, right? Just if you're going to interrupt, be relevant. And if they keep going, great. And if not, then nicely, delicately back away, let everybody keep
Exactly.
their dignity and don't be a jerk about it. Right.
Yep.
So love that. Love it.
Cool. All right. Number 2, this was going from templates to prompting, right? And Smartling, again, new case study on the website. Same thing, we're going to rely on the machine to figure this out. So the before, they were challenged with the CEO wanting more volume, the CRO wanted more personalization. And, we're able to balance that off and achieve that with the AI, because it would be humanly impossible to do it without the assistance of the machine. So what did we get? Well, the first thing we did was inside of Reggie, we built out 20 persona profiles. So Reggie knew who we were selling to.
Yeah.
And because of that, the minute that prospect name came up inside of Outreach or SalesLoft or LinkedIn, wherever you are, email, Reggie automatically knows who the prospect is, matches it to the persona. The persona is matched to your company messaging for that persona. It's got your brand voice. It's got your personalization guidelines. And as a result, 72% of all the emails were personalized in under 1 minute.
Wow.
And I can't tell you how many companies I talk to. Oh, we do 50 personal emails a day. Well, if the average email takes 20 minutes to research, personalize, and write, you're not doing 50 of those a day.
No.
The first ones are better, the last ones are sloppy. Like the law of diminishing greatness. And here, like Reggie consistently can do it in seconds. There's 3 different workflows for it, but we're able to achieve both. And this is here, this is available right now. Again, if your team is doing any of this manually, there is a better way. When I say better, you can go better faster. All right, let's jump into the third. So this is where we're going from content generation to task execution. I'm going to use my company as the example. Before, my team was constrained in outbound activity based on the size of my team. We could only do so many manual tasks in a day because, we're very process driven. We're going to complete all of our tasks every day. And there's only so much time, even with automation on the emails, there's still phone calls. There's still things that you have to do that take time. So we actually created an agent. We have a series of agents that do everything from prospecting, lead sourcing, content generation, our task management. All of this is going on in the background for my team. So let me talk about the results here.
Yeah.
Because this is super exciting.
Wow.
The first thing with our audience expansion module, which I talked through, we were able to find 9,000 contacts that we weren't aware of.
Wow.
So it expanded our audience of who we can sell to. Then the agent started automatically communicating with those 9,000 contacts. And over the last 5 weeks has generated over 3,000 high priority tasks for my team to follow up on, engage prospects.
Wow.
And right now, the agent initiated leads account for about 28% of all the meetings we're setting. It's phenomenal. So it's here. Agents are here, flying cars are here, AI is here.
Agents and flying cars, 100%. That's amazing. Matt, what was the time frame for this case study?
Well, this is ongoing. So this is over now the last 5 weeks.
Okay.
And we continue to load up the agents and find additional use cases for agents ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for 5 weeks, that's a pretty impactful, those are impactful numbers. right? To your point and the numbers earlier, where outbound is still a thing, but to your point, there's a better way to do it that is still high quality.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said high quality because, when we think about these agents, you're curious, like what kind of content are these
Yeah.
agents putting forward on my brand's behalf? And these are like responses we're getting to agent-generated communications to agent-generated prospects. This is
Wow.
such a good email. Like, get me a demo, curious to learn more. Like, these are literally responses coming back. And these agents map every prospect to a sales rep's inbox. So as this prospect responds back, it comes right into one of my reps to follow up on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's great.
That is.
So,
Yeah.
so let's do this. Let's kind of finish where we started. We talked about the blockers, and in the last 25 minutes, like we've solved these for success. So number one, we talked about,
Yeah.
like list building was a problem.
Yep.
Now it's easy for us to do this in a great way without bogging down RevOps or our sales team. We can unify our tech stack. Like agents can bring all the signals in from your CRM, your intent provider, your sales engagement platform. The agents can work with all of your existing tech to optimize the engagement.
Yeah.
And it does it by serving up the right message to the right prospect with the right channel at the right time. Automatically, like we're solving for this as we go. And this results in happier prospects, happier reps. Like everybody's a little bit happier and driving more success into the organization. So let me leave you with a little bit of advice, like 3 things. So like 1, trust the AI. Now I remember my first year selling what we're selling about 2.5 years ago. We spent the first year like talking to customers about trusting what the AI is doing. We're far beyond that now.
Yeah.
Like we've all had our experience somewhere with AI. It's living in our Microsoft apps. It's all over the place now. So like we should just trust it. Like it's not going anywhere. I think the bigger piece is we should start to experiment with it. Where can we start using the AI based on our workflow, our messaging, our brand, like how we want to do business, figure out how little AI makes sense to augment your team and help drive that productivity lift. And then third is my favorite, like tech as a teammate. And really it's like, where do you draw the line where the tech hands off to the team? And we've seen a number of examples where like companies would offshore customer support, customers complain, they reshort, or you mentioned Amazon. Well, you might not like dealing with a bot on a problem order. Like you're gonna have to make like a decision of your brand and how much you humanize all the different experiences and use that to gauge where AI hands off to humans.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Matt. I think sometimes we kind of throw things over the proverbial fence, right? And so I think to your point of having it be a teammate, and as a human, for now at least we're still in charge, right? And until the AI takes over, right? That's a joke, but yes, for now we are as humans still in charge of technology because it does have to do what we tell it to do. So I love everything you're talking about here. And I love that, starting with the trust and move on. The toothpaste is already out of the proverbial tube, right? So figure out how to use the AI to get better, be better, and meet your customers where they're at, happier customers and happier teammates. And just, it allows for a really good blending of the qualitative and quantitative at the end of the day, that work-life balance that people are really hungry for. And, as a business owner, right, we have that fiduciary responsibility to make sure we make numbers too, right? So it's a good balance.
Yeah.
It's a good balance. I like it. All right, let's talk about what we got for everybody.
All right. Well, first, if you want to stay in touch, love to continue the conversation. You can find me on LinkedIn, best place.
Yep.
We got a couple of gifts, so we're super happy. So number 1, everybody is going to receive the definitive guide to AI in sales. So we've got the original book we published, and we're also refreshing it full of agent data.
Nice.
Everybody will get a promo code for a free license of Reggie.
Thank you. That's very generous. We love that.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got gifts.
Yeah, we like gifts. It's giving, it's the holiday giving season. We're coming up to it, right? So thank you, Matt, and from you and from Reggie to give those gifts out to everybody. It's really important, like you said, for people that are maybe a little behind on embracing some of these things. This is a really great way to really dive in and start using the technology that's there. And Matt, thank you so much for your generosity and thank you for joining us today.
Great to spend some time. We will talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.